All right. So that should get YouTube going as well. So welcome all of you that are joining me on YouTube as well. Do me a favor. If you guys can hear my voice, see my screen, the screen should say, let me make sure that's actually working. Nope, I haven't shared my screen yet. Let me share my screen. So the screen should say how to generate 3% per month with one option trade per week. If you guys can see that screen and hear my voice, do me a favor, just give me a quick shout out in the chat box or the question box. That way I know that everything is working. And like I said, we are having some internet issues here, so I'm kind of working on like my mobile internet. So bear with me a little bit this class and other folks in here too. That way we're all kind of working. And there we go. All right, good deal. A lot of you looks clear. Edward, John, Kevin, Mark. 2 Marks. Mark M and Mark H. Welcome to you guys. Brian, Dennis, William, Imran, Brian, another Edward. All right, cool. So welcome to all of you. And to all of you in the back that are quiet as well, good to have you with us. We're going to get started here in just a second. So again, those of you that said you could hear my, I almost said you could hear my screen. Those of you that said you could see my screen, hear my voice, thank you so much, Henry, as well. For all of you guys chiming in, I appreciate it. I see Tom in the back there, Steve. I see Skip and Rommel and Robert and Rajiv, Paul, Nathan, Michael, Lyle, Lloyd, Kurt, Ken, Joseph. Awesome. So good deal. So like I said, it is going to, I'm going to do my best. We are having a little bit of internet issues this afternoon. So I'm kind of operating here with, probably not the best system. But let's do this. Since it already is 12 o'clock, I'm going to jump over to the first slide and let's go ahead and get started today because, again, we are going a little bit behind schedule because of some internet issues, but we're going to work our best through them. So we'll do our best with that. But let's officially go ahead and get started. I want to welcome all of you to today's webinar. It's called How to Generate 3% per month with only one option trade per week, potentially. And I'm excited that you're here because this webinar is going to teach my bread and butter trade that helps generate income. It's something that I place multiple times a week personally and with a lot of my clients. So I'm going to show you today how you can turn just 15 minutes a day into consistent income, no matter what the market does. So stay with me because you're going to learn today what could completely transform your financial future, just like it has for me and hundreds of my students. So this session is live today. Today is January 21st. It's just noon Eastern time here. So please interact with me during the chat if you have any questions. I've got some helpers back there with me in the background. They would be more than happy to answer questions. Then we'll have a Q&A at the end. Now, first, to get everybody kind of in the sharing mood, in the chat box, I want you to give me a number, 1, 2, 3, or 4. How would you describe your current income system in the stock market? Type a 1 if it's non-existent. So in other words, you don't have a way to generate consistent income. Type a 2 if it's just kind of trickling in. It's nowhere near enough. Type a 3 if it's there, but it's inconsistent and you need more. Then type 4 if it's a steady flow. Possibly multiple income streams you can turn on or off when you need and that are going to provide plenty of extra money. So in the chat, 1, 2, 3, or 4, and kind of let me know where you are in the whole idea of generating income. All right, I see Jerry 2, William 2, Harrison 4, and they're flying by, so I'm probably going to skip a lot of names. James 4, 2, Imran. Awesome. A couple of 4s in there. Brian, 1, Henry, 3, Robert, 3, David, Jacob, Mark's a 4, Dennis is a 4, Lyle and Andrew are 2s. All right, cool. So here's the cool part. If you're a 1, 2, or 3, you're in the right spot. There's no doubt about that, okay? But even if you're a 4, and there are a few of you say that you're a 4, and that's a great place to be, I bet you're still going to learn how to increase your existing income flow and really do it with a lot less risk and a lot less time spent. Now, in the webinar, you're going to see how you can begin making a paycheck averaging about 3% per month or more. Now, keep in mind, you can do this regardless of market direction. You can do it with little to no prior experience with options. You can do it safer than buying and selling stocks, and it's something that you can implement quickly. Now, one of my recent students sent me this email. He said, hey, Ron, just wanted to send a quick email to thank you and your team for the SPX Paycheck course back in September. I've been using the method and tracking my performance and thought you'd like to see the results. I entered my first 35 Delta trade on September 21st with only $5,000 in my margin account. Now, less than 3 months later, I'm already up 24%. Thanks again. I'll be teaching this method to my retired in-laws to help them grow their income in retirement. I love hearing that. And there's a lesson for you here. You don't need to dedicate 100 grand to this. You can start small where you learn and practice because it's going to build up quickly. For example, if you started with 5 grand and you average 3% per month, compounded over 15 years puts you at $1 million. Now, if you start with 25,000, you'd be near $1 million after 10 years. You're looking at some serious money. Now, clearly, if you have more than 5 or 25,000, you're going to get there much, much faster. Now, some of my clients were kind enough to share their photo and their results with you, and we're going to talk about a few of them today. And these are real people just like you. So as I teach you the system today and share their stories, I want you to pay attention because you might find you're in a very similar position now as they were when they started. So here's how we laid out today's webinar. The first part of the webinar is going to show you the strategic shift that's necessary to generate consistent income. After that, I'm going to show you the 3 big mistakes you need to avoid. In fact, by knowing what the mistakes are and that thousands of other investors will inevitably make them, you're going to be in a prime position to profit. We're going to talk about things like picking strike prices and expiration dates, how to pick them correctly. In the third section, I'm going to show you how to set up your income trades with low risk. Type yes in the chat if you've been told that selling options was risky. Yeah, yes. I'm going to show you how to do it the right way. So there's even a lower risk than buying a stock. VectorVest to generate income. Now, this is different than what others will teach you out there. So I'm going to walk you through it today. And then throughout the session, I'll mix in some case studies of our clients who are doing this. And one of them, might just be like you. And then also, there's a ton of great information in today's webinar. So please, it's going to benefit you to stay to the end. And if you do stay with me to the end, I put together a nice little checklist to help you plan out your trade. It's a PDF that I'll put in right in the handout section of the GoToWebinar. But remind me when we get to the Q&A, because after about an hour, I typically forget. And also, I love to interact during the webinar. I feel we get so much more out of it when we interact together. There's going to be several times throughout the webinar where I'm going to ask you questions. So let's interact back and forth. Now, there's only so much we can cover in an hour. So throughout the session, I'm going to be mentioning some things that you can do after the webinar if you want to continue your education and start implementing this quicker. But we'll talk more about that at the end. But I guarantee you this is going to be 1 hour of packed information. So if you're good with that and you're ready, just type a yes in the chat box for me. I just want to make sure you're still with me. All right, Kevin, you are first. Kevin, William, Mark, Jerry, Brian, Mark. 2 Brians. Greg, 2 Gregs. Wow, look at that. A couple of Freds in here too. Frank, Eric, awesome. Good deal. So, why is this such an important topic, this whole income? Well, without that income system, financial stress is your constant companion. This creates a number of problems for us. You may feel stuck working longer than planned, or you're stressed worrying about running out of money. It might be depleting your savings faster than you can fill it, especially with how prices have gone up so much. If things don't improve, you may fear you'll have to give up on investing and go back to work. Worst case scenario, you'll run out of money during retirement. Now, with the options paycheck system to help you generate income, you can really break free of this. It's designed to help you generate income safely, consistently, and really in less than about 15 minutes a day. And I think this is the most important point of the webinar. So pay attention, write down what I'm about to say. In order to be financially free, our main need is income. To be financially free, all you need to do is learn to generate enough income from your investments to cover your expenses and lifestyle needs. So let me say this again. In order to become financially free, you need to learn to generate enough income from your investments to cover your expenses and lifestyle needs. So whether you're still working or you're retired, the ability to generate income from your investments is one of the most empowering skill sets you can have. Because when you have the ability to generate income from your investments, your life will change. If you're still working like I am, you can increase your earning capacity. It's like having a second job. If you're retired, you can have a consistent source of income as if you quit your job, but they kept paying you. It's like a tap you can turn on whenever you want. That's going to allow you to do the things you want to do now and when you retire. When you've got a system to help you generate income, it can help you retire younger. Now, like I said, I think this is one of the most important points of the presentation, so I'll say it again. When the income from your investments exceeds your living expenses, you become financially. Now, for example, Brian's a client of ours who's a great example of how easy you can become proficient at drawing an income from the market, even if you don't want to invest a lot to begin with. Now, Brian had some health problems and needed a way to supplement his income. By using the options paycheck system, he was able to generate $23,000 profit starting with just $6,000. He had a 100% winning trade rate in 10 months. He had 31 of 31 winning trades using our basic system. And the key point here is this. This is not beginner's luck. It's the result of following the system. It's the system that helped him get that 100% winning trades and create $23,000 in profit starting with just $6,000 in 10 months, safely. Now, the first thing you need to know how to generate income with options, it's a bit of a strategic mindset shift. Now, you're either going to continue being the gambler where you lose more than you win, or you're going to become an option seller and win more than you lose. Being an option seller is the way that you can make consistent income, and it allows you to win even when you're wrong. Now, the reason you want to be the casino or the house, well, number one is that the house always wins, right? Number two, the reason they always win is because they control and stack probability in its favor. The options paycheck system is built around you stacking the odds massively in your favor. Now, make a note of this. In order to control your returns and results, you have to learn how to stack probability in your favor. So the obvious question is, how do we do it? Well, the first step is that shift from being the buyer of options to being the seller. So let me explain. Bruce is a great example of that shift from gambling on stocks to being the casino and controlling and stacking probability in his favor. He had said prior to working with us, he had mainly taken stock tips from his broker. He focused on our SPX income system, which is our basic trading system. He said he's not the most technical person in the world. But in the time he's been working with us, he's grown his trading account from 100 to 497,000 in 3.5 years. He said he's achieving a 74% win percentage simply by following the rules of the options paycheck system. And the whole thing takes him around 15 minutes a day. So let me show you how this works. This is an example of a typical trade you've been taught to make. You find a stock you like, you think it's going to go up, so you either buy shares of it or you buy a call. Now, why do you buy a call option? Well, mainly because when you started learning options, it's what you were taught to do, right? Stock goes up, you buy a call. As the market goes up or stock goes up, your call makes money. Very simple, basic trade. But what ends up happening a lot of times? Either the stock doesn't go up, or worse, it goes up, but it doesn't go up enough, and the call you just bought ends up expiring worthless. Has that ever happened to you? Well, what's the problem that's causing you to lose? Most people feel the problem is, well, maybe they picked the wrong stock, or maybe the wrong strike price, or maybe even the wrong expiration. But the real problem, if you've been losing money or had more losers than winners with other systems, it's not your fault. Okay? That's because most of the systems on the planet teach you to be on the wrong side of the trade. You're taught to buy an option. But as a buyer, the probabilities are not on your side. And for most people, they end up buying and losing and buying and losing and buying and losing. The options paycheck system teaches you a new way of thinking. You need to be a seller and not a buyer. That's how you get ahead of everyone else. This is how you're going to put probability on your side. This is how you're going to win even if you're wrong. So let's take a closer look at selling options. Now, as a buyer, a typical trade gives you a 50-50 chance to be a winner. Because when you buy, the only way you make money is if the stock moves in your direction. So instead of having that buyer's mentality, we're going to have a seller's mentality. So instead of hoping a stock just goes up, as a seller, you're going to strategically set up your trade using probability, because probability will tell you where the stock is not likely to go as well. So instead of just needing the stock to go in your direction, you can pick a price which says, hey, as long as the stock doesn't go down to here, I still make money. Now think about that. You pick a price below the stock price, and as long as it just stays above that, you make money. If the stock goes up, you make money. If the stock goes sideways, you're still going to make money. The stock can even come down a little and you'll still make money. So right from the very beginning,
probability is in your favor. And you could even increase that probability even more. We can choose lower prices, which give you a bigger area where you can be right. We do a lot of trades that start off with a 70% chance of success. And you can only do this as an option seller. So as a seller, you're putting the probability of success in your favor. And this is the definition of an income trade. An income trade is simply one where you can make money even if you're wrong on direction. Now, Bruce, remember Bruce? He continues to trade with me every week. In fact, he posted in our private group and said, another day trading on the beach. Got my eyes on AMC and a cold beer. Life's good. Thank you, VectorVest and Ron, for giving us the tools to do what we do from anywhere. That's a great picture of being financially free. Now, Mike was someone who dabbled with options, but said he lost on each of his trades. Have you ever been there? Can you imagine how frustrating it must be to lose on each of your trades? Well, eventually he just gave it up. He tried to learn more about options, but he said he never felt comfortable he knew what he was doing. He said he didn't have any set criteria. So Mike and I worked together. I taught him the options paycheck system of being an option seller, and he said he became like an income machine. After he learned and implemented the system, he immediately went out and had 17 out of 19 winning trades with a profit of over $12,000 in 4 months. The key lesson is going from buyer or the gambler to the seller, or like we call the house. That's what turned his situation around. And he was even so proud of his success, he sent me the spreadsheet of his trades. Now I want you to look at his results. Notice the number of winners compared to losers. That's the profit column, by the way. You can see all the winners and look at the losses, okay? Look at the days to complete the trade. We got 7, 5, 4, 2, 7, 7, 10, 7, 10. Over the course of the last 10 years, it's taken about 7 to 10 days to close a trade. So that's typical length. And he's making about $1,000 every 7 to 10 days. If you start and you're like Mike and a lot of our students, you can just start trading the SPX. This is the index that tracks the S&P. This involves only one trade per week, about 10 minutes a week. That's it. And it's averaged about 2.3% per month over the last 10 years. You're not just learning how to trade options. You're creating a future where your income grows without adding hours to your day. Imagine you turning your financial stress into confidence because your money is working harder than ever, even when you're not. And we're not looking for like one big home run trade to become a millionaire overnight. We're going to grow our account steadily and safely each year. And that's the key takeaway. You know, those home runs look good in ads, but singles are what win the games. Because these singles that we're going to hit, using a baseball analogy, this is what's going to enable you to never run out of money and be able to do all the things that you want to do. Now, you've seen by flipping from the buyer to the seller, you can stack the odds significantly in your favor. Now we're going to stack the odds even further by understanding and capitalizing on the 3 most common option buyers, or again, what we call the gamblers' mistakes that they make. Mistake number 1 is that buyers choose unrealistic strike prices. They choose strike prices that are